Hi, my name is Kelly and I'm coming to you on behalf of Collective Recovery. In this video series, we are talking about how to navigate grief in addiction recovery. Now, grieving in recovery is especially painful, especially if you are new to recovery and you might have been numbing out with drugs or alcohol for a significant amount of time. But inevitably, we find that grief will come into our experience at one time or another, especially when we are in recovery. You know, in recovery, we see many people die of alcoholism or addiction, as well as just, some of our loved ones that die from natural causes. So there's going to be a point where you're going to have to deal with grief at some point with someone that you love passing away. So in this video series, we just want to talk about a couple of different stages of grief and how you can successfully navigate through these stages. So the first stage of grief, and this is all information, the 5 stages of losses or of grief are actually from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who wrote On Death and Dying in 1969. And she really talked about these different stages in a reaction to someone's death, right? So the first stage of grief is denial. And this is where you're just you can't process it, right? You cannot comprehend the loss of a loved one. The second stage is anger, where you just feel really angry, maybe at the loved one themselves. You might feel angry at someone that didn't attend the funeral, those kind of things. Anger is actually masking your pain of the loss, right? The third stage is bargaining, where you just can't simply believe it's true, right? Or you might make statements like, well, if I only did this wouldn't have happened, right? I've seen that especially when we have someone that dies from alcoholism or suicide or something like that, where we say things like, well, if I would have just checked up on this person, or if I would have reached out more to this person, then maybe they wouldn't have overdosed or they wouldn't have taken their lives. And unfortunately, that's just not true. We don't have any control, right? But that is a example of bargaining. The next stage of grief is depression. Of course, it's easy to be depressed when a loved one actually passes away, right? And then the fifth stage is acceptance. And this is where we start to accept the new normal of the loss. It doesn't make it any easier sometimes, but we start to realize that this is something that is permanent and we have to just move forward with it. Now, that being said, those are the 5 stages. And what I want to offer you is in this video is one tip or one step you can take in order to process your grief, right? And so the next few days, we'll be talking about each one of these steps or tips that you can do in order to navigate through these 5 stages. So the first one of those is just simply acknowledge that you're in the grief process, right? When you acknowledge that you're in the grief process, also be aware that there is absolutely no timetable for your grieving. The thing with acknowledging is if you acknowledge that you are in the grief process, that will allow you to start healing from it, right? If you're in denial, just allow yourself the proper time to come to terms with each stage of the grieving process without trying to rush yourself, right? So again, the first step in all of this of how to successfully navigate grief is to really just acknowledge that you are in the grieving process and it's totally okay. There's no timetable, and this is just how it might be for a while. Not try to rush yourself or try to have these unrealistic expectations of yourself when grieving. Okay, so this was video 1. And so if you liked this video, please hit the like button below or leave us a comment here. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction or substance abuse, we would love to help you. We have an amazing outpatient treatment program as well as a sober living, both for men and women. And we are always willing and ready to give you a free benefits review. So you can go to our website at collectiverecoverycenter.com for your free benefits review, or you can give us a call at 1-866-UTAH-HOPE, or just message us here and we'll be happy to see how we can help you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.